hormone molecules are transported in the bloodstream in complex with serum albumin proteins. Okay? So, those can be delivered to the muscle cell, they can be delivered wherever they're going. So, we're going to start with the free fatty acids. So, a free fatty acid comes in, it's the fatty acyl the fatty acyl AMP synthase enzyme, fatty acyl AMP, yeah, uses the fatty acid, its carboxylate group as nucleophile on the alpha phosphate of ATP, meaning we displace the beta and gamma phosphates as a pyrophosphate ion. And what happens to the pyrophosphate ion? Inorganic pyrophosphatase. So we're breaking one phospholine hydride bond, and we're breaking a second phospholine hydride bond. So that's the equivalent of using 2 ATPs worth of energy, right? And so we get this fatty acyl AMP as the product, and where we've created a mixed anhydride, which we know is one of our high energy bonds, right? And so then the enzyme can bring in coenzyme A. Coenzyme A acts as a nucleophile attacking the carbonyl of the fatty acid. AMP acts as the leaving group. And that's how we make the high energy thioester bond in a fatty acyl coed. And then we get AMP as the product. That's okay. And then we know that AMP reacts with the molecule of ATP, right? There's our second molecule of ATP to make 2 molecules of ADP in that adenylate kinase reaction, right? That's where the second molecule of ATP gets involved. Yeah?
Is this all done through that one enzyme?
Yes.
Do we need to know what that enzyme is? I have to go back to the tape.
Attacks.
I said I'll have to go back to the tape.
Yeah. Okay? So, reaction proceeds like we would expect. We've talked about enzymes like this before. Yeah, Ellen, question?
So acyl-CoA has a receptor in the matrix?
No. We're not ready to transport it yet. All we've done is activate it.
Did we, I should know the name of this, HSCOA.
That's coenzyme A. That's the thiol of coenzyme A.
Okay, and
Yeah.
that didn't have anything to do with citric acid cycle, or just looks like it has something?
This is coenzyme A in the cytoplasm.
Okay.
Yes, we use coenzyme A in the citric acid cycle, but this is CoA still in the cytoplasm. Good question. Okay? So now are we straight? So now we've created a high energy bond here. All right, now, the slide got really big and bold. So then there's this molecule carnitine, right? Carnitine sounds like it should be the title of a bad B horror movie, right? But no, carnitine is 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3, and then a nitrogen. I'm trying to think where we get our carnitine. I should know. Hydroxyl group on carbon, 1, 2, 3. An amino group on carbon 4 that is trimethylated so that it is a quaternary amine, a permanent positive charge, just like we had. What other permanent positive charge have we dealt with like that? What other quaternary amine did we deal with? Mostly in first semester.
I'm sorry, what? I was too upset that I wasn't recording the video.
Oh, you just.
I thought I hit it, but I guess I got caught up in the instead of.
When I looked at it,
I was thinking about this.
That's all right. It'll go up. Okay.
I probably just didn't delete it.
When did we deal with that? in our membrane phospholipids, choline.
Oh.
Choline. Well, choline was in some of the sphingolipids, but choline had a quaternary amine like that, right? In the phosphatidylcholine. Okay? So, carnitine reacts with this activated fatty acid. Right? Here we go. The hydroxyl group of carnitine, catalyzed by the enzyme, attacks the carbonyl of our new thiol ester. Sulfur is less basic than the oxygen, so sulfur acts as the leaving group in a
Nucleophilic acyl substitution.
energetically favorable nucleophilic acyl substitution. It had been a day or so since I said that, so we needed to do that one, right? So coenzyme A acts as the leaving group, and we get our fatty acid attached to carnitine. So now, you guys are up.
So now there's a transporter for that.
Now there's a transporter for that. Exactly. There is a transporter, an antiporter. There is an antiporter, right? If this is the cytoplasm, this is the matrix. There is an antiporter for the fatty acylcarnitine to go in as the free carnitine from a previous cycle leaves.
What's that called again? Carnitine?
The
What?
carnitine carrier protein.
No, the one what we made.
Oh, this? Our
Acyl.
fatty acylcarnitine.
Okay.
Yeah, Robbie?
Is that for any fatty acid?
Yeah, that's for any fatty acid that's going to be carried into the matrix to be oxidized. Yes. So, we go in. Here we have coenzyme A in the matrix that now reverses the process. It takes the fatty acid off of the carnitine. So we make our fatty acyl-CoA now in the matrix. The carnitine can go out as another fatty acid, or another fatty acylcarnitine goes in. So essentially, the fatty acid is put on a CoA in the cytoplasm, transferred to carnitine, carried in with carnitine, transferred back to coenzyme A.
How is it favorable in both directions?
Concentration within the matrix, this is being oxidized, and so therefore this is kept low. So this reaction gets pulled in this direction. In the cytoplasm, we're actively using ATP to make this. So this is in high concentration, and this is in high concentration, and that pushes the equilibrium that way. And the transport of carnitine in keeps this lower and this higher. That make sense? Do you feel that? Are you happy now that we found our transporter? Okay? So now we've got our fatty acid in the matrix as a coenzyme A ester. Okay? One thing I've noticed in going through these videos, how often on Friday I apparently wear this yellow shirt. I've got to diversify my wardrobe. It's just...
No, I feel like you're more of the your like YouTube videos, like always have the yellow shirt, and you have like a brand.
brand.
Yeah.
People are always like-
The tall, bald guy with the yellow shirt. I'm not sure I want that to be my brand.
I think it's a good plan. You already started.
Okay?
Yeah, you have to finish.
So, are we ready to oxidize this? We're actually moving along quite well today, even though I'm being very deliberate. Let's see, do I have this as small?
Let's pause. Let's hear
I
a funny
know.
story or something like that.
Pause for a story?
Let's slow it down.
No, I feel like I'm going slow today.
It's fine.
I feel like I'm talking very deliberately today. I'm not going as fast as I sometimes do. I'm not going fast enough. Ellen's been able to keep up the whole time. I haven't seen her struggling to keep up with her notes. Apparently she's trusting the video. Okay? So, here we go with our fatty acyl-CoA. Right? So here's the fatty acyl-CoA that we just made. And so we're going to go through a series of oxidation steps. One, oxidations, right? Because oxidations extract electrons, and electrons carry energy. So in part, these oxidations are going to extract energy from the fatty acid. But we're also going to create, our favorite thing, a labile bond, and that labile bond will be
Broken?
well, broken, but where will it be?
The alpha beta next to the carbonyl.
Yeah, alpha beta to a carbonyl, right? So we're going to oxidize this in part to extract some energy from it, but mostly to create the carbonyl that will create the labile bond that lets us break this in two. Okay? So, that's the two goals. So, here is our fatty acid. Here is the carbonyl of that fatty acid. Here is the alpha and beta carbons. Okay? Adjacent to that. And after that, it doesn't matter how many carbons we've got. As long as we have a clean alpha and beta carbon adjacent to the carbonyl, we can oxidize that. Right? Until we get to only 3 carbons here. Right? If you only have 3 carbons here, it doesn't work. Other than that, it works fine. Okay, so the first thing we have is the fat. I always throw fatty in front of this, right? The book leaves the fatty off. I like the fatty. So, fatty acyl-CoA dehydrogenase. And I don't want that to come back on YouTube as me saying, I like fatty.
Let's just fix it. I like fatty.
No.
Now that you've given us 2 to work with. I said now that you've repeated it a couple times.
Yeah, there's going to be plenty out there. Yeah. So the fatty acyl-CoA dehydrogenase, which is another one of these FAD-linked dehydrogenases, right, is going to oxidize this alpha-beta position and create a carbon-carbon double bond. As a matter of fact, a trans carbon-carbon double bond. When have we done that before? What other enzyme that we've talked about recently oxidized adjacent to a carbonyl to make an alkene? Succinate dehydrogenase. Right? That's what succinate dehydrogenase did. And so the things we know about the mechanism of that are true here. That is, the carbonyl we can deprotonate the alpha carbon, creating a carbanion. The negative charge here, as it tries to drift, makes it easier to remove a hydride ion from the beta carbon. And since FAD can accept the hydride ion as a 2 electron